What's going on, subscribers, and welcome to all the new viewers as well. If you haven't subscribed, hit that button and also hit the bell notification as well so you get updates on all of my latest content. Now today we're going to be taking off the factory bumper on my NP300 and we're going to be installing the Ironman Bullbar. So we're going to take this and turn it into this. So why did I choose the Ironman Bullbar? I know for a fact that Ironman do a lot of testing on all of their gear, especially their bar work, because it needs to be compliant in Australia. Not only have they done the on-road testing to make sure that it's compliant, but I know that they've tested this in off-road conditions. They've put their metals and bar work materials to the test in the hardest conditions possible to make sure that they're going to withstand everything that us four-wheel drivers throw at them. There is no point in spending big dollars on a bar that you think looks great, but offers you zero protection when it comes down to it. So we know that the Ironman Bullbar offers optimal protection for your vehicle, but what about the warranty? So Ironman have backed this Bullbar with a 12-month manufacturer's warranty, which means if there's any manufacturing problems with your Bullbar, you're covered for up to 12 months. So all that information's great, and you know what, the safety stuff is really important, but what really sold me on this Bullbar is these features. Massive approach angle, huge amounts of panel protection. It has a built-in winch cradle, ADR approved. This bar has super strong mounting plates onto the chassis. This is really important if it comes down to crunch time and you need it to hold up to whatever it comes in contact with, you know that the mounting provisions are strong. Alrighty then, it's time for the installation. Let's get stuck into it. Righto guys, so it's time for step one. We need to remove the bumper off the NP300. So we'll start with the grille. So there is 2 clips this side, 2 clips this side, and then there's 2 clips on either side of the grille in here as well. These are twist ones, and these ones just pop straight off. Yep. Alrighty, so that is the grille now off. There's also 6 clips on the bottom here you have to push together and pull away and the whole grille comes off. We have to remove these 3 clips that are holding the bumper on.
Working hard or hardly working?
Alrighty, so now to continue getting the bumper off, we need to remove some Torx head bolts underneath here. So you need to grab your T20 Torx head screw tool thing and get them out. Now we're going to move on to the other side and do the same thing. So now you've got the 2 Torx bolts out of the outside of your guard. There's a 10mm bolt on the inside here, one on either side of the car, that we need to remove. Ta-da! Oh hey man, Betty, we got to do the intro.
Intro, Betty!
Betty!
Right, okay.
So you need to remove the plastic guard that's underneath here. I've already removed mine on my cars, so it's not here, but you'll have one to remove it. And then there's 4 10mm bolts that's holding the bottom of the bumper on. These ones here, they need to come off, and then we should be good to take the bumper off. That should be everything, I reckon, Shawnee boy. Alrighty, so we've got the screws out of the bumper. Now there is a few clips as well, so there's some clips over this side here and a couple more underneath that you just need to sort of wiggle free. Now we've got this plastic piece here that was clipped into the top of the bumper. I'm not sure if we have to remove that, so we're going to have to find out as we go and see if that obtrudes on the new Ironman bar. And if it does, we'll just have to unscrew it and take it off. The bumper is now off the vehicle, so we have to go ahead and use a flat blade screwdriver to pop a couple of these plastic panels off. So there's 2 here and this one here. I believe that's all we've got to take off. Just a couple of cables there that need to be removed. So 1 clip up the top there that we've taken off, and 1 more down in here. So we've got the side panels off, now we've got to get this bottom plastic panel off. 2 clips either side of the panel.
Here's one we prepared earlier.
Oh, Joel, you've got fingers in there.
Definitely holding up the team here. Pressure's on. Ta-da! Alrighty, so that's all the plastic paneling taken off. Now we need to take off the bumper reinforcement, the metal bracket. So that's these ones here and this big guy on the front as well. So these bolts in here, there's 2 bolts in the front either side. They're 17mm bolts, and these ones here look like they're 10s.
Don't let the team down.
Oh no, that's just good. Hey.
Benny's bringing the big bar to the party. You got this?
You gotta get on the ground like the other. Oh.
Once again,
Righto guys.
Benny
So
just
bring your
manhandles
tools.
everything. And you also need to remove the factory bash plate in order to get this bar off. So there's 2 10mm bolts up the front, and it looks like there's 2 10mm bolts up the back as well. Factory bash plate removed. Oh, that was a long throw. So we've got the bumper off the car, we've got all the supports and plastic bits and pieces removed. So if you're installing recovery points, make sure you do it now, as you can't get them on after the bull bar is installed. Now, so you've got 2 recovery points you need to put on. There's also chassis support brackets that need to go on now as well. So there's 4 in total, 2 either side, and they go somewhere about there. So 1 either side on each chassis post, and 4 in total. Alrighty guys, so we're going to start on the recovery points first. Now, with the Ironman recovery points, which is the one that I'm installing, it comes with a bunch of different nuts and bolt sizes. So there's M14 and there's M12. So on the Navara, on this side, there's already some captive nuts on the inside that are M12. So we're going to be using those ones there. Now they give you some brackets as well with these tabs on them, which you can use to put inside the chassis and hold on to. Now we're going to also be using the M12 on this side. This is the factory recovery point here. We're going to take that one off because the new one's going to go in its place. So there's just 2 17mm bolts holding it in. With these ones, that's the way that it faces out. Goes on the chassis like that. Grab your 2 bolts with spring washers and washers and bolt it up.
So they're on, but not on.
So now we've just got to drill those holes out using the templates apparently, which these are the templates. Rightio guys, so that's the chassis support brackets now on the car. So there is a left and a right side, make sure you get them around the right way. Use this as a bit of a guide. So we've had to drill into the chassis. Now you use the brackets as a guide for your points to drill into, and you use the M10 bolts, these ones here, that go all the way through from one side to the other to mount them on. Now we have had to take off the intercooler plastic shrouds so that we can get the drill in there.
Round these ones out.
Righto guys, so it's time to install the winch cradle. Make sure you leave the winch cradle bolts loose so that you can adjust it at a later point. So Ironman have supplied 8 of these style bolts to go on the 4 outside holes on either side of the winch cradle. There's 2 factory bolts that you need to reuse in the center here. So the instruction manual called for us to put the winch on first before mounting the bull bar, but in this case, we can't get into the side here after we've mounted up the bull bar to drill the pinholes. Once everything's located, the drill will not fit between the winch and here to be able to drill it. So we're going to have to rip the winch out and drill the holes, then put the winch back in after. It's time to get the bull bar on for a test fit. So those side plastic pieces that we were looking at earlier, we weren't sure if we had to remove them. They do have to come off the vehicle. So there's a series of 10mm bolts on the outside plastic piece here, and there's some Phillips head nuts on the bottom here that we need to take out. You will need to put this bolt back in as it holds this metal panel onto the plastic guard. Sweet. So grab your remaining M10 bolts and put them in here Don't tighten them up just yet. We do need to adjust it later. Yep, so 1, 2, 3 bolts are loosely done up in the side of the bull bar. So now the bull bar is on, we need to move on to tightening up the chassis brackets on the side here, tightening all these ones and the winch cradle bolts as well on the front there. And then we can adjust the bull bar and tighten it down. Alrighty, so that's the chassis post brackets now tightened down. Now we've got to move on to these side bolts, but before we tighten those ones up, we have to adjust either side of the vehicle here, the edge of the bull bar to the flare, and match them up so there's a 10 to 15 mil gap between here, and then tighten up the bolts on the side of the bull bar. Rightio guys, so we've got the gap adjusted properly now, so Benny's going to tighten up the side bolts. So now we've mounted up the bull bar, we've done up all the bolts, we've got our gap sorted on the side of the fenders there as well. We're happy with everything. So now we've got to put the pin bolts in. So there's 2 holes on either side of these brackets. So now we need to drill a pilot hole and then do a final 10 mil hole and then put some bolts through there. Rightio, so it's time to drill the final 10 mil hole. So we've drilled the holes for the pinning points. Now we've got to grab your 4 M10 bolts and put the bolts through. So all the bolts now are done up on either side of the bull bar. Time to move on to the next step. So we've got to put the factory bash plate back on the vehicle. So in order to do that, we need to fit the supplied bash plate with the Ironman bar and these brackets. So I would start by putting the bolts in the front of this bash plate here so that it gives it some support, and then putting these brackets up onto the mounting points here on the Ironman bar, and then bolting this bash plate up and then the factory one up all at the same time. I'm just going to put these back ons on. I need a 10 millimeter.
Socket?
Yeah. Yep, it's done. So that's the factory bash plate.
Oh, sorry, Joel.
You're a see you next Tuesday. Yeah. So that's the factory bash plate and Ironman bash guard now fitted. So we've got the protection plates now to put on. So you've got your M8 bolts over here and your left and right protection plates. So make sure you get the right one on the right side. Alrighty guys, so we're up to one of the final steps of the bull bar fitment. We need to fit the grille back onto the vehicle. Now Ironman have supplied us with a grille support bracket. Now that bracket needs to be fitted in here. But the problem is one of these hoses, this one here, is using one of the holes that we need. So we need to take that clip out and pick up on these 2 holes here with this bracket. Got to drill it out. So we've just had to drill out the bottom hole here. So we've used an 8.5mm drill bit because the hole was too small for the bolt. Now we've got to secure this one somewhere. So we've just drilled a hole in this bracket so we can mount this hose back in using the factory clip.
Alright guys, it's time to fit the last part of the car together. The front grille.
And then there's just the 4 clips that go back in the top. And these are just the factory clips that we're reusing. So Ironman have supplied these captured nuts with some bolts and spring washers. Now these just slip in through the back of the bull bar and you mount your number plate back up with them. Alrighty guys, so we're up to the final step. We've got to trim the guard, so Ben's going to mark it out with a texter. We're just going to cut along the line of the bull bar to start off and just see how that looks and then go from there. So we should be able to push it back up inside here, trim this section, and then tuck it all up underneath the bull bar and hide it nicely, but still offering us some protection against mud flinging up and getting all stuck in the inside of the guard. This doesn't really have to be super neat, guys, as we're going to tuck it back up inside the guard anyway, so to save you getting power tools up in there and possibly scratching something, using a set of tin snips works well. Alrighty, let's do a test bit. These clips back in, and that's not going anywhere. Well, check that out. That's the bull bar now installed onto my NP300 Navara. The installation was really fun. There was really only one part of the instruction manual that I don't think personally made a lot of sense. It was the winch installation section, where it says refer to winch installation page. It says to install the winch. Now that's before you've drilled those pinning bolts on each side of the bull bar once it's all aligned. For me, with a normal drill, I couldn't get in to drill those holes with the winch in there. So I had to remove the winch, which thankfully came out nice and easy from the top of the bull bar. It's got a lot of room in there, so that's a plus. So all in all, I'm extremely stoked with the installation process of this bull bar. This video can be used in conjunction with the instruction manual to install the bull bar yourself, or you can go over it after it's been installed elsewhere and make sure that it's been done properly. This at least gives you a little bit of insight as to how these bars go on the vehicle. Unfortunately guys, in this video we didn't get a chance to do the wiring on the lights. We will cover that in a separate video, so stay tuned for that. Now, I will also be doing a winch installation video for you guys, so stay tuned for that one where I'll be installing my Rumva 11XP Premium winch into the bull bar. There's a comment section below this video. Drop your comments in there. If you've got any questions for me, guys, I will answer them. Even if it's unrelated to this video, if it's a question about another video, or if it's a question about upcoming videos, if you enjoyed this video, guys, make sure you give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. That will mean you get to see all of my upcoming content. You won't miss a bloody thing. So that's it for today, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.